If your toddler whines every time they want something, it might feel like it's something you just have to put up with. But here's the thing. How you respond plays a huge role in how often and how much your child whines. In other words, your reactions to those whining moments can either keep the whining habit going or break the habit altogether. In this video, I'm going to show you how to break the cycle of whining with 3 practical strategies that you can use in everyday situations. And it's important to use the right strategy depending on the situation. So I'll also show you exactly when and how to use each one. Now, the first step though is to make sure that you're not accidentally making it worse or reinforcing the behaviour. It's really easy to do this without even realising. Take this common scenario as an example. Imagine you're in the kitchen, rushing to get dinner ready. Your child tugs on your shirt and says, "I want a drink." But since you're in the middle of cutting up chicken, you reply with, "I'll get you a drink once I've finished cutting this up." But they start whining. "I'm so thirsty, I need a drink now." You calmly respond with, "I'm almost done, I just need to finish cutting the chicken." However, they continue whining, "But I'm so thirsty, please, I want my drink." At this point, you know that if you don't give your toddler the drink right away, they'll keep whining until you do. And you're already feeling overwhelmed. Dinner is late and you just can't handle the whining on top of everything else. So you stop what you're doing, wash your hands, and hand them the drink and say, "Fine, here it is." Your child happily takes the drink and walks away, leaving you to finish preparing dinner in peace. Now, if this is what happens every time they whine, your clever child will quickly recognize the pattern. That is, when they ask calmly, they have to wait. But when they start whining, you drop everything and give them what they want. Without meaning to, you've taught them that asking calmly doesn't work. But when they escalate to whining, they get what they want. Now, keep in mind, your child isn't being naughty. They're simply trying to figure out different ways to communicate and learning what works to get their needs met, just like anyone else would. And if whining works, that's what they'll do. Now, as I mentioned, the way you respond to the whining depends on the scenario. And there are 2 different scenarios you'll likely experience. The first scenario is like the example, where they ask calmly at first and then they escalate to whining. The second is where they just jump straight to the whining. So let's talk about how to respond to a situation like in the example where they ask calmly first, then we'll jump into how to approach the second one. In a situation where your child asks calmly at first, you need to ask yourself, can I give them what they want right now? If you can, then do it, because this is reinforcing the positive behaviour you want to see more of, which is using their calm voice instead of whining. If we go back to the earlier example, but instead imagine you're just stirring a pot of food instead of handling chicken. In that case, you could easily pause, get them a drink, and then continue with dinner. Now, obviously, that's the easy part. What about those situations where you just can't give them what they want immediately? For these situations, start by acknowledging the fact that they ask calmly, because it's really important to acknowledge and reinforce that positive behaviour. But instead of dropping everything, just let them know when you'll be able to help them. For example, you might say, "I love how you ask so calmly. I'll finish cutting this chicken, then I'll wash my hands, and then I'll get your drink." This helps them understand that even when they ask nicely using a calm voice, there'll still be times when they have to wait. Now, while they are waiting, it is very likely that they'll start to whine or complain, and that's okay. It's natural for your child to feel upset when they don't get what they want right away. Your role in these moments isn't to stop them from feeling upset, but to help them understand that whining won't change the situation or make things happen any faster. If they start to whine, stay calm and stick to what you said. For example, you might gently remind them, "First, I'll finish cutting the chicken, then I'll wash my hands and get your drink." And then you make sure that you only get them the drink once you're done. By following through like this, you're teaching them that while their feelings are valid, whining won't get them what they want any quicker. Now, while this won't instantly stop the whining, by consistently reinforcing the behaviour that you want to see while also maintaining firm boundaries and not allowing the behaviour that you don't want to see change the way you respond, you'll see big changes over time. Now let's talk about what to do in those situations where your child jumps straight to whining without asking calmly first. When this happens, if you can, stop what you're doing and help your child right away, and start by getting down to their eye level and saying something like, "I can see you're upset and I want to help." Then you would guide your child towards better ways of communicating by clearly telling them what you expect. This means avoiding phrases like "stop whining" or "no whining," because while these phrases seem clear, they focus on what not to do rather than telling them what to do, and this can be confusing. Instead, you want to encourage them to use their calm or normal voice. So you might say, "But it's hard for me to understand when you're talking like that. Can you tell me again in your normal voice?" Now, before we move on to what you do next, I want to quickly point out that using phrases like "stop it" is just one of 8 common phrases we often use as parents that might seem effective in the moment, but don't always convey the message we intend. In fact, these phrases can sometimes send a completely different message. So if you're interested in finding out what these 8 phrases are, what message they're actually sending, and what alternatives to use instead, click the link in the description to get your free copy of 8 parenting phrases to rethink and what to say instead. Okay, after you've encouraged them to use their normal voice, you need to wait for them to ask calmly before giving them what they want. I know this step can be tough, but it's crucial not to give in if they keep using a whiny tone, because if you do, it just teaches them that whining works. Instead, keep encouraging them to use their calm or normal voice. So you might say, "I still can't understand. Can you try again in your calm voice?" Or, "That's getting closer. Can you try again in your normal voice?" Then when they do ask calmly, make sure you give them what they ask for right away. For example, you might say, "Oh, you want some water? Here's some water," as you hand it to them. By doing this, you're showing your child that using a calm voice is the best way to get what they want, and over time, they'll start using it more often instead of whining. One thing you probably notice with all 3 of these approaches is how important it is to praise your child when they use their calm voice, as this helps encourage them to keep asking calmly instead of whining. But praising your child isn't as straightforward as it might seem. In fact, phrases that sound encouraging like "you're so clever" or "you're amazing" might not be the most effective way to praise your child and can sometimes have unintended negative effects. So watch this video next to learn about the different types of praise and how they impact your child. And more importantly, I'll share one simple tweak you can make in the way that you give praise, which will encourage your child to explore and develop as well as build their self-esteem.